sexy people of the internet. It is Dave, it is Duncan back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new release from UK riff-slingers, Desolated. The band's new album, Finding Peace, will be released on May 30th via MLVLTD.
I'll have a consonant, please, Carol, and another consonant, and no, you want a vowel? No, that would spell a word.
No. Scattered across the UK between Sheffield and London, Desolated consists of guitarist Richie Unsworth and bassist Dan Ford, alongside Charlie Thorpe of Malevolence on drums and Les Law of Burn Them Out and 50 Caliber on guitar, and Tony Evans of Idle Hands as lead vocalist. After over 5 years of long-distance writing, squeezed in between demanding full-time work commitments, a million breakdowns in the form of the WhatsApp hummed voice notes, 30...
I never thought of that. That must be the... Oh, no.
I know. That gives me nightmares, that, right there.
Oh, like, so we were in a band, WhatsApp didn't exist. Could you imagine our former guitarist, imagine waking up to, like, a voice note. It was just
he loves a voice note.
Like an 8-minute voice note that's like, bam, 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 and that's where you're going to go, chun, 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 chun. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
Duncan, you're going to go, like, like that, and then he's going to change it. He's going to do something more like kind of on the like syncopated kind of thing like that, and that's where I'm going to go. And then I've got this guitar pedal that's going to make the guitar sound like. You know what I mean? It's going to be. Could you imagine that?
No, I couldn't
My
imagine.
phone would be in the fucking bin, right, with cement poured over it to make sure I couldn't fish it out. Well done, guys.
Listen, my daughter sends me 10, 15 second voice notes, and that's enough just to disgust me. As soon as I see my phone, I'm like,
My daughter would be homeless when she.
I'm not
if
listening.
she ever watches this video, you will be homeless if you. To know that.
I hope she's never in like an emergency or that, because I'll be like, yeah, I'll listen to that later. Anyway. Yeah, so yeah, lots of WhatsApp hummed voice notes, 30 plus Toby Carveries, and countless hurdles, including the monumental task of switching lead vocalist. We're proud to announce the completion of Desolated's long-awaited...
What's a toilet paper budget on a 30 visit Toby Cavalry's recording, man? Honestly,
That's just under
Christ.
Taco Bell, isn't it? Just like in the list. Featuring guest spots from 9 Bar from London, Whispers from Bangkok, Thailand, and D Block from Detroit. We are proud to say this album has more of a heavy hardcore twist than previously, and is the band's best work to date, with the honour of legend Will Putney.
Oh, I mean, this is, your Putney radar was on full effect. Dave
Fucking
literally told me before we hit recording here, you hit play on this one, and within the first 5 seconds, you're like, who the which cunt produced this?
Yep. Big Putney handling the mix and master of the album. We are excited to show what gentrified desolation in 2025 sounds like. In their writing, the outfit aimed to pick up where they left off with the previous album, The End, which has seen an explosion of popularity over the last few years, thanks to the new wave of life across the whole subgenre and momentum of new and exciting bands coming through. With the new album in its final stages, the band have taken The End and its greatest elements and produced another hard-hitting, long-standing record, while seeing what fresh ideas their latest lineup of members would be able to bring to the table. Guitars and vocals for the album were recorded by Rich from the band, with drums recorded by Jim Pinder at Treehouse Studio, and then mixed and mastered by Mr. Will Putney. And yeah, I mean, I'd love to jump into these songs, but I need to start with the production. I have to start there. Like, there's nowhere else I can go but...
Hashtag hench.
Hashtag hench, Duncan. Holy shit balls, man. Like, could this production be any more jacked than it is? Like, fucking hell.
Yeah,
I mean,
if this pisses in a cup, it's pissing hot. You know what
Yeah.
did. Like,
Yes.
There's some roid. There's a bit of roid rage all over this stage.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow. I mean, like, obviously, mixing and mastering from Mr. Putney will always add a certain level of weight and clarity to things, but I have to also say that the initial recordings also need to be good for that to fully work.
Nah, they're not miracle workers.
No, they're not. So like hats off to Rich, the guitarist in the band, who handled the guitars and vocals, and Jim Pinder, who did the drums. The tones and the character of the recordings are top notch. Those guitars are razor sharp, like fucking hell. The drums utterly punchy. And to be honest, the production of this album really just helps deliver like how heavy this album is and can be. Hasn't even mentioned how fucking thick that bass tone is as well.
It's ridiculous, man.
There's also, I mean, as heavy as it is, there's also a really nice like freshness to it as well. It's a production that really just pops from the first note that you hear. I absolutely love the production on this.
Like just early 2000s death metal. It sounds really, when you go back and listen to it, it sounds really vibrant, and you don't understand why modern death metal sounds so like either like super clean or like so not. There's no middle ground now. It's either gnarly as fuck or super clean. And in the early 2000s, like death metal just had to be huge. And that's kind of where we are now with this. It just sounds huge.
Absolutely. But I mean, it's not the only kind of lean thing about this album. It's 10 tracks, just under 24 minutes long. There ain't no fucking around on this album. This is like locked in. It is tight. There's only 2 tracks over 3 minutes.
Yes.
So we ain't doing long intros and build-ups. Shit is getting
plenty
nasty.
Breakdowns though.
Oh yeah.
Plenty of breakdowns apparently discussed over WhatsApp.
Yeah. I mean, like, and it's a hardcore album. So at the end of the day, you know, bands within that genre, they don't tend to really like elongate stuff, to be honest. But I loved how like instant and how direct this album is. And you can hear the band have like definitely been working on their craft for sure. I enjoyed the last album, The End. I think it ticked a lot of kind of typical hardcore boxes. And then the 2019 EP they released, it was a kind of elevation on that. But you could hear the band were starting to kind of push themselves into, you know, into a bit more for what was going to come. Finding Peace feels like the biggest jump in quality between releases that Desolated have made. They have just amped this right up. It still has a lot of the hardcore traits that you'd expect from the band. It's loaded with huge grooves, beat downs, there's switch ups galore on this. But the ideas and the transitions are bigger and far more interesting than before. You can hear, you know, the 5 years or whatever of writing that's gone into making this one. It has an extra level of consideration to it. Like you can hear they've thought about every turn these tracks make. You know, where do we want to put all the starts and the stops? You know, when do we want to ramp up the speed or do a rhythm change? And ultimately, you know, what would make these tracks more satisfying for a listener of the album, but also what live crowds will react to as well. And this is an album that's built for the stage. Like this is the immediacy of these tracks will ignite a crowd within seconds.
There's people running on stage and hurtling themselves like cannonball into the audience.
Yeah, 100%. So basically, for this album, side A, I'm going to call it, is I know, you know, I like that vinyl shit. Side A is just a 10-minute kind of hammering, basically. The first 5 tracks just lay into you as hard and as heavy as they possibly can. The endings to those tracks should be getting done for Assault and Battery because they are ridiculous. There's like moments where they slow the pace right down, and it's almost like a Slayer riff run out of batteries.
I think we were once at a friend's house many years ago, and they had one of those novelty candles that was like it was lit, and I think you remember this, you were there, and then the batteries started running out, and it was the most depressing birthday gift. Yeah, Glass Ceiling has a breakdown that feels like it is continually getting slow.
Yeah.
Like a car where the driver's jumped out and it's just like rolling down a hill, grinding to an inevitable stop.
Yeah. It's so Moorish though. Like it was almost like if I had anything negative to say, there was a couple of moments where I felt like, oh, that riff's so good, please just play it like a bit longer, like shoot, because they don't hang about on this album. Like they just like, it's all very like quick shifts, you know, from one riff into another, and usually whatever follows is more crushing than, you know, the riff that came before. But there was a couple of moments I was like, oh, that riff, please play it longer, but you know, they were just like, nah, we're on to the next bit. However, when the album hits side B and Endless Betrayal kicks in, it's like they get like another dose of energy. It's like, yeah, the first half was just like a warm up, guys. Like this is where shit gets serious, and
kind of helps. I think it is the longest track on the album as well. So like the second half kicks in with, you've got me saying it now. Right. Track 6 kicks in, Dave.
Side 2.
Fucking halves. It kicks in and like the band are like, is like you know, they went to the corner, they've sat down, their coach has been like waving their towel over them, smacking in the face, saying you need to get out there, you need to score. It's like a UFC fight, you need to score points in this one because you're down right now.
Have a sniff of this. yeah.
Cut me, Mick. Cut
That's
me.
some fucking blood sport shit right there. Cut the ropes. The Van Damme kickboxer.
I got the reference, Steve. I'm as old as you. Well, you're older.
Yeah, there's like a 3-track run on that second half. Endless Betrayal, Let It Slide, and Victim 2.0, and that is just annihilating. Like just fucking annihilating. And those 3 tracks weirdly are 3 that have guest vocalists on them as well. So
it's also a quarter of the album.
yeah. Not only are you getting 3 absolutely ferocious tracks, but you're getting this really cool variety in vocal tones as well. It almost feels like there's even more aggression because you've got that extra vocal on it. But also there's a little bit more speed added into the mix in places as well. So when they do like drop or do the switch into something really slow, coming off a quicker kind of tempo, it almost feels like more impactful than before. I thought Victim 2.0 was particularly good. The addition of I think it's D Block as the guest on that one. It had this kind of almost kind of like body count kind of type feel to it, which I absolutely loved. The last track though, you mentioned the last track. My God, Dead End 2025 is what you call a closer, Duncan.
Yes.
Woo.
Little acoustic atmospheric number.
Yeah. We flute in the background.
Choir in the back.
Different hardcore band. The riffs on that, like, there's obviously still a heavy hardcore influence, but they touch on almost kind of touching on deathcore on that last track. It gets really dissonant at one point. I love, like, being a drummer. I love there's the big kind of China breakdowns they do, where there's this there's gaps of silence in the riff, and it's just China. Just in between, and it sounds
it's that meme that you see is usually someone like in a state of panic, and it just says like that. You're in the pit, and she's playing for China, right? For China, you're like because you know it's about to get heavy.
It's monstrous. The last track is just absolutely annihilating. Musically, this is like just an absolute kick-in. But I also want to mention the vocals of Tony Evans, who he was previously the band's bassist, and now moved into doing vocals kind of full time. I love his tone, like absolutely killer tone in this. His screams are savage, like just like. But to be honest, like it has a really good overall range as well. He doesn't just keep it in that kind of same range for the whole album. He can push into like a higher scream when he needs to, and even there's moments where he throws in this kind of lower kind of growl when those like bigger drops happen. But for someone who's just like stepped into these shoes and has not been like a front man before, his confidence comes across in this like he's been doing it for years. And I don't know, maybe he did backing vocals and stuff before, possibly. It wouldn't surprise me if he did, but he killed it. Absolutely killed it in this release. I thought his vocal performance in this was fantastic. Like when I got to the end of the release, I was like, well, this is the most accomplished Desolated album to date. Like it's so like it's compact, but my God, like it absolutely packs a punch. I mean, I don't have huge negative things to say. It's, doesn't necessarily give you anything that's out of the box or hugely like unexpected for a hardcore album, but it's highly enjoyable and like executed extremely well. Yeah, I had a ton of fun with this one. It's just like riffs galore. Like if you love a big chunky meaty riff, then there's so many on this album. What about yourself? What do you think of the new album from Desolated?
It's a face pulling album. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you are on public transport and listen to this, the person sitting opposite you is concerned. Because there's a lot of this, and a lot of all the way right through it. Like, you can't not. This is an album that just continues to like delight and reward the length it runs. It did make me smile. Well, you were describing like those riffs that you're like, oh, fuck, like Never Enough for me, which is a big old hardcore banger, right? It's one of those tracks when you're listening, you're just like, yes, just keep fucking screaming Never Enough. And then it finishes at like it's like about a minute and 15. It is not a long song, and it reminds me of there's that very funny kind of video on the internet of it's like a girl putting a pizza in the oven. So you put the pizza in the oven, go away, have a wank. When you come back, it's done. And it switches. You've seen this before. It switches to a guy putting the pizza in and then coming back after his wank, and the pizza's still frozen. Like that's never enough for me. Like that is like. You know what I mean? It's so fucking short. It's it's a speed wank of a track, right? It's like so short and enjoyable, but you wish it had lasted longer. It's so good, man. Like this album has a really laser focused target on like get the job done, no fucks given, let's cram in breakdowns galore and let's just go for savagery, and it kind of achieves the mission that it sets out to do. I echo what you're saying. Like, if you are into the heavier side of hardcore, deathcore, etc., the band don't necessarily do anything that you haven't heard before. They ain't like introducing like Spanish guitar, and they're not doing anything that feels weirdly off pace. But at the same time, though, I've heard this genre done with a lot less enthusiasm, or actually a lot more, and I don't want to use the word again because they've just used it in different contexts, a lot more wankery that is unbefitting of this sort of album. This is perfect length for this, and as much as I gripe that I would prefer some songs to be longer, or like you said, you hear a riff and you're like, that, play it 7 times, and they only play it like twice. It kind of adds to its Moorish level. You get to the end of this, you spin it again. You get to the end of that play, you spin it again. But it's still shorter than like the last Opeth album. So, because that's math. But you do, like, you feel yourself just continually want to come back and hit play on it. And a part of that's because of the ferocity. Part of that is just like the song placement, which is excellent on this one, and the song construction. Like, they give you the beatdown when you want the beatdown. Like, we've listened to this before. As an audience, we're conditioned to know when we want it, and we don't want to have to wait. We want it, like, sometimes we want it very quick in a track. That's why, like, when it closes out with Dead End 2025, that track, like the kind of beatdown, breakdown, like, savage section on the 2.5 minute track kicks in about 1 minute mark. Well, that we could go up, but no, we know what you want. This is the closing song. Let's give it to you. And they're really, really good at that. They've got an eye on instinctively knowing when the listener wants the track to change and going with it. It probably comes from the multitude of bands the band themselves playing. They've got, like, obviously the well-seasoned veterans of playing and writing music, so they have that instinctual nature. But for everyone to be locked so much on the page for something which is ostensibly a side project is really interesting. Like, this is perfectly focused. I do love the idea that the album is called Finding Peace, while the album artwork is almost like a Shiva the Destroyer, like, deity on the front, just surrounded by severed hands and fucking skulls. And I think there's a bit in that which is weirdly poetic. Like, sometimes to find peace you have to expel ultimate rage. Like, there's a reason we as metal listeners listen to metal music because it makes us happy and at times makes us weirdly serene. And this is the perfect like full stop exclamation mark of that point. Yeah, it's really well put together. Production, nothing more I can see here. It's absolutely fucking massive.
Yeah.
Pristine, massive, vibrant sounding, and yeah, this is like really, really good. I hadn't listened to anything by Desolated before, so this is my introduction to the band. But it's fucking great.
I'm not. I don't know if I should say this or not, but I think we might have seen these guys like mega years ago. I have this vague memory of seeing Desolated in the Cat House, like.
If it was in the
decades ago.
Cat House, we've scrubbed it from our mind because the Cat House probably destroyed their sound.
Like I'm talking like more than 10 years ago.
Possibly. But like I'm saying, like had their sound been great, and I'm not blaming the band, had their sound been great in that venue, we would remember seeing them.
I'm sure we'll have, but
probably. I mean, it sounds like if they'd been on the go that long, and knowing how many gigs we were going to back then, and if they toured the UK, we've seen them. So.
Yeah, different vocalist. Obviously, Tony's the new. Actually, I realised there when you were talking there, Tony was in. I mentioned Tony's in another band called Idle Hands. I think he's a vocalist in that band, so that's maybe where like the confidence is coming from. He is obviously doing it elsewhere. I just never put two and two together until just now. Okay, so final thing: scores for the new Desolated album, Finding Peace. Yeah, like. Highly enjoyable. Highly enjoyable. Production hits like a fucking truck. It's 24 minutes. I could have done another 24 to be honest, but I'll take it. Yeah, not necessarily like doing anything I haven't heard done before, but like very enjoyable. 4 out of 5 for me. What about yourself? What are you thinking?
We are so in sync tonight. It's almost as if we should be in a boy band called In Sync. I'm coming in 4. Yeah, that's like this is one of these. This is an effortless revisit.
Yeah,
like this will be spun to death by the end of the year.
Yeah,
guaranteed. So 4.
For sure. Finding Peace out on May 30th on MLVLTD, which I think is the Malevolence record label, I think.
Would make sense.
Yeah. Check out the links to the band, the pre-order, a single, have a listen, see what you think. Let us know your thoughts and opinions on it. That is a review. Thank you for checking out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.